So welcome everybody to the first Tuesday business coaching group. I see Vicki is here with us. Hi, Vicki. And we have
Hi,
Maria.
Sharon. I invited my friend Gina. Hope that's okay.
Of course. Hi, Gina.
Hi, Sharon.
We've also got Maria and Jan here, and we had a big group register this time. Of course, usually only half the people that register actually show up, but we'll see. But we can go ahead and start because we're on time and we can get going, okay? So our purpose for tonight, for every month in this group, is that it's an open format. It's very informal. I just welcome nurse entrepreneurs to bring their questions and their challenges and their celebrations to share in the group. And so anybody can, or you can also just listen and watch. That's fine too. So who would like to start the night off with something that you want to ask or share? Oh, Vicki, if you're talking, you are muted.
Trying to get on big screen. I'll leave it alone for right now. Gina and I are going into business together, and we've got an energy practice.
Wonderful.
And I guess some of my questions would be I think I had the question this morning. It was like some of the pitfalls and some of the advantages of going into partnership.
Oh, great question. Thank you for bringing that. Okay, so I have a question for you.
Yes.
Have you already formed the partnership, or are you kind of circling and getting ready to do it?
We're circling.
Okay.
So we've committed. It's kind of like an engagement. We're engaged, but we haven't gone through the ceremony of the legal paperwork and standing in front of the judge.
Great. Okay, well, you're in the right place to ask these questions and get.
Okay.
I'm glad you're getting this prenuptial stuff.
Yeah, that's what we're working on, the prenups.
Okay, great. So, of course, you need to have a written document
Okay.
that spells out, and it doesn't have to be in legal language. In fact, I encourage it to just be in everyday language. Spell out what you both understand is the arrangement. So you might be equal partners, or one person might be 3/4 the ownership and the other one 1/4, or any combination of ownership that comes up to be 100%. Okay. And you need to have that written, and also the date that this starts. And I'm recording this, but if you know, or you can just ask me to slow down if I go too fast.
No, you're doing fine.
Okay. You need to write down any assets that you are bringing to the partnership, and this includes intellectual property. So let's say you're doing a healing work.
Yeah, because we're both Reiki masters. I do healing touch, we do healing presence. So I'm a nurse. She does, her background is childcare.
Okay.
And so we're combining our expertise.
Wonderful. And then who's your audience that you're thinking of serving?
All ages. Yeah, because of the healthcare and the children, it could be either one. I'm good with old folks and veterans, and she's good with probably kids. So
okay. If you can do those two ends, you can probably do the middle too, right?
Yeah. And we pretty much can handle anybody that comes in the door.
Okay.
Actually. Yeah.
Okay. And are you going to have a physical location?
Yes. I have an office already established.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful. And are you also going to do remote work?
Yes. We find the remote work is very effective.
Yeah,
And we can ground and do a lot of remote work.
yeah,
Actually, we can do it Zoom and on the phone. I've been doing it for 12 years on the phone. So,
wonderful.
yeah.
Okay, so I think I left off on intellectual property. So let's
Yep.
say if either of you have written a book or an article or a course,
Okay.
you might not have, but in case you did, then you want to say in that agreement that it still belongs to the person that wrote it,
Okay.
or that you're sharing the ownership. You know, there's like nothing that you can't do. Just do it consciously, look at the pros and cons, and then put it in writing.
Okay.
And then, so that's what's going into the pot.
Okay.
And then you want to look at, once you've got all that listed, you also want to look at what comes out and how it comes out. So there'll be expenses, and there'll be ongoing expenses that are a little different from startup expenses. You'll need to decide, do you each have 100% power to spend money independently, or do you need to check in with each other? Sometimes there'll be a certain amount, let's say $500. You're up to $500, you're fine with the other person spending, but over that you want to be consulted, or whatever your comfort zone is on. But it's good to have that clear. The bank account, you'll both have to be signing on the bank account and the credit cards and things like that. Now, with the credit cards, that's a little trickier. You might first start with each of you have a business credit card, or you could get one that you're both on. It's just, again, going to be determined on how you want to do this. Or maybe just one of you is going to handle all the money. That's another option.
Okay.
And pay all the bills. And then now we get into the part where you're looking at the operations and how is that divided. Okay, so to summarize, we started with what goes in and how is it divided, what goes out and how's that divided, and then what happens in the middle in the operations and how's that divided. So you might both be practitioners, going to, decide that. You might both be answering the phone. You might be both paying bills. You might be both advertising equally on all those, or you might have some kind of arrangement where one's doing more of something and a little less of something else.
Okay.
Okay. And then I recommend that you put in the agreement that you'll revisit this, like review it on some kind of periodic basis. The first year, you might want to review it quarterly and adjust it if needed, because it's very hard to look ahead and know exactly how this is all going to play out. And you do want to keep your agreement current with what you're actually doing, So you might want to just review it casually, quarterly, and update anything that is shifted. Or then, as you go over time, let's say maybe next year, twice a year is enough, and then third year, maybe just once a year is enough. So you can decide all these things, but you want to make it realistic for you, what you think would support you. And then, of course, there's a part with your state. You'll need to find out, you can usually go online and find out the Commerce Department in your state will tell you what it requires for partnerships. And there's paperwork to be filed to be a legal partnership in your state. And then there's, you want to consult a tax person, because partnerships have very specific requirements for your taxes, state and federal.
Okay. Wow. I have a list. I have 2 pages. I write big.
Okay.
But this is excellent. Thank you.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
I'll let you sit with that for a while. We'll see who else has
See what
questions.
somebody else says. Thank you for answering that. Thanks everybody for giving us that time.
Yeah, you're welcome. Hi,
Can I just
go
say
ahead,
one
Maria.
quick thing?
Yeah.
Hey Vicky, I put a message in the chat for you with my email. If you would like to reach out, that'd be great, but no pressure. That's all.
Do you know how to access the chat, Vicki? Okay, well, let us know later if you can't find the chat. You got it. Okay, good deal. Betsy, hi, nice to see you.
Hi, Sharon. It's so nice to see you. It's so nice to see you all. Hi.
Good. So would you like to, have you brought something to talk about tonight?
Well, um, I think I brought a celebration.
Oh, good. Great.
Um, I had 2 weeks ago, I had 9 clients in 1 week, like 9 appointments in 1 week. And
Good.
that was the most I've had in 1 week. And then last week is 5. But I did the math of this, 2 weeks ago, and I realized that that like that week I basically, like, if every week was like that, I would be like above my financial goals for 2024.
Oh,
Now every week may not be like that, but I felt like that was like a really nice energetic blueprint to go
yes.
into the new year with. So I
Wonderful.
wanted to share that
Yay.
out loud.
That's wonderful. Congratulations. Would you like to share anything about how, what you think made a difference for you? Or let's say maybe where were you 6 months ago? And then, you know, tell the people, because actually I should let you know, I'll know there's 8 people on the call. I'm only seeing 4 plus myself. So there's some maybe that I don't know why it's not even just showing their name on my screen, but maybe it's the way I have it set. Nope, I don't think so. So
I
anyway,
see the oh,
do
I
you
see
see
the other
the,
people's names, but their videos are not on. That's how
okay,
it looks on my screen.
okay. So yeah,
Um,
I think it would be lovely just if you share a little short thing so people can understand the context for your celebration
sure, yeah.
and what you do, please, if you could say that.
Yes, sure, sure. So, I I do something called rest and relaxation coaching, that I started during the Liberated Nurse Business Incubator program, which I started back in the fall of 2022. And so I did my pilot, or I did essentially like the market research, empathic inquiry conversations back in the spring of 2023, and then started my pilot of our rest and relaxation like package, which is where I help socially conscious people tap into states of rest and regenerative states of rest and relaxation. And that looks like integrative health coaching combined with mind body spirit modalities like Reiki and hypnosis and guided imagery and stuff like that. And so uh yeah, so I started the pilot in May, and I had 9 pilot clients, and I finished at the end of July. And then I open up. I'm actually practicing at my I have a friend who has a traditional Chinese medicine clinic that is in our neighborhood, and so I'm practicing out of their clinic. I opened my books officially in late July, and then just like slowly I've been the turtle is my guiding spirit, um so that I don't which is helping me when I imagine the turtle. And I've shared here before, but I literally like watched YouTube videos of turtles walking to get pumped up because I realize my habitual patterns are like try to run as fast as I can and then get really freaked out and freeze and like want to give up. And so I was like, what would Turtle do? Turtle would not do either of those things. Turtle would just keep going. So slowly, and if I need to curl up into my shell for a little bit, then I'll do that. And then I'll come back out and keep plodding along. So yeah, it's just been kind of like I've done different things like uh, posting for the blog for the clinic, which has helped with a little bit of visibility. But I think probably the biggest stuff is um, when I think about it and I look at the clients that I have, it's like staying in touch with the pilot clients, um, really letting people know something that I've been working on in the last couple of months is that like realizing the humility that it takes to let people know that I am interested in like working with them rather than trying to be kind of like so like oh whatever do whatever like I think instead of over air like I can over err on the side of not wanting to, of course I don't want to be like coercive or pressure anybody, of course not, but I think I can kind of like stay invisible by like leaning too hard into the like whatever do your thing, I don't care if you work with me or not, like actually being like I've started saying to people beyond saying how much I appreciate it, I just say like I love doing this so much, and the way that I'm able to do it is when people are willing to work with me, and so I'm so grateful to like that you're helping me have the opportunity to do this work, and that feels like vulnerable but in the right way. um and yeah, and then I did some things over the last couple months too where I've been offering I was realizing I was like not wanting to give free sessions because I didn't want to be undervaluing my work, but when I was thinking about when I got more clear on like what the value of it is, and when I was thinking about it as like I'd like to give you a gift session where I'm clear energetically what the value is, but also like I want people to experience the work like like a Reiki session so that they can, so I've had people who had never tried anything like this and were really impressed by how powerful it felt. And so some of the clients that I had that this last week was, or the week with 9 people, were people who like someone bought their partner things that were like ripple out effects from me doing these like gifting things. And then I also said yes, even though like everything in me wanted to say no, to doing like a event, doing Reiki at an event. A friend was doing like a holiday fair kind of thing, and I was like, oh, I'm not gonna be able to get together. I'm just no paperwork, blah, blah. And I just kind of like let myself get into a thing of like I can do this, trust, like remembering things that Sharon has said so many times of like things don't have to be perfect. You can just start. It's okay. So yeah, Sharon, your like wise mantras in my mind have been helpful. um and yeah, I think uh this feeling of like if I keep doing what I'm doing, just like trusting that the support is going to come from somewhere, even if I don't know where. Um
Great job, Betsy.
thank you.
Good job. And just choosing the energy that you want to hold, staying with it, having a visual as, the turtle as your symbol for it, and really following your wisdom too. Lots of wisdom you have. So good job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Who would like to speak next? And for those of you who have just joined, this is our focus is always to, on these calls, is to give you some coaching around your questions, your challenges, and also to help you celebrate any celebrations that you've had in your business. And here, of course, if you celebrate, we always want to hear how did this happen, and what's the context, just like what Betsy did. So who wants to go next?
can do two quick things. One's, I guess, sort of I'm gonna call it a celebration because I've been wanting to do this. Teresa, you're gonna like it, I think. So I finally today, like I was trying to clear and organize or whatever, and then my 2024, I'm calling it the year of expansion and quantum leaps. And so I put together a little vision board for it. Just all the things I kind of want to like call in, not only for myself, but for my business and then kind of communities in the world at large. Um, so that was kind of exciting because I thought I'd get that done before, the calendar year turned, but it didn't happen. So that's okay. And so that was cool. And then I have a general question. I'd love to hear from people your organization style. Like I realize I jot things down on paper. So I have like all these notes. I have my coaching session papers and like, if I'm on networking calls, and I have a binder that I've been trying to like put stuff in. And then I've also this year really trying to use my Google Drive more for organization and like keeping documents and stuff. But I still really like jotting things down. And I don't know, do people do both, or do you do all one, all the other, or do you like after you're jotting your notes down after your calls or whatever, are you then putting it into your Google Drive notes? Like, I don't know. I could just use a little bit of direction to try some things out. That'd be great.
Okay, thanks for that question, Maria. Would anyone like to respond? So I'll go last. But I think it'd be good for her to hear from a few different people, right?
Well, I'm really good with my client ones, and I have a practice better that I use, and that's really good. But notes, like I'm taking some notes tonight and things like that, I have a problem with having notebooks.
Mhm.
And so I'm not as good about organizing those kinds of things. But the client information I do, I would call it's like nursing. It's like being at a medical facility. And even though some of my work is financial rather than medical or health care, I keep my notes very precisely in as I said, the software is a client management called Practice Better. And that's what I generally use. But I could use some work on putting stuff in Google Drive instead of in notebooks on that particular area for me.
Who
I am
else?
not the best organizer, but I have created a master list of all the things that I want to remember on one document. I create separate documents, but then I make a master list. So I just go to that one to pull up the documents that I want. As you know, that's brand new, but it is working wonders in this girl's world. And as far as taking notes, for a really long time, I'll take the notes and then I have like a running doc with notes. And then I just date it where I was and type my notes into it. I hardly ever go back and look at it, but if I want to, that's where it's at. So.
Thanks.
Thank you both.
Thanks to both you, Teresa and Jan. Teresa, I know what your system is, so I'll just say a little bit more about it for everybody's benefit. So she's talking about a digital document and as her master, and then each thing has a link sort of on that one page that keeps everything. There's links, and then those links go to the other documents, and you're using Google Drive. Is that right?
I am. I'm happy to share it so you can get a visual of it.
Sure. I'll give you
Okay.
ability to do that.
And while you're doing that, I'll find the document.
Okay. And while you do that, I'll share what I do. So I like both the written and the digital, but more and more I'm going to the digital. And the reason is, well, two main reasons. One, I don't misplace a piece of paper like I do in hard copy. Sometimes I just misplace it, and then that's tough. And then the second thing is, digital, I can search by keyword. So if I don't remember exactly what it's called or the date or things like that, I can just type my keywords in, and not only 90% of the time, the thing I'm looking for will come up. And then also often there's other good things I forgot I had that are related to the same topic. So I really like that part of it. And the only way that my system works for me is to have many different folders. I've seen some people when they start out in Google Drive, it's just all these documents, but that, to me, that gets unwieldy pretty fast. So I've made a hierarchy of folders. Like in a library, you'd have a science area and a cooking area and so on. So I have the main areas, but within each main area, there's other subfolders, and that's helped me a lot.
I like hearing that too. So this is just all the stuff that I've written, things for the course. I just put it all in one place. And this is just getting started, but this is the stuff I've been using the most. So and you literally like go to another Google Doc and you share it, copy that link, and come over here and paste it into your form. So, and these are Google Docs and these are Word docs because I've got both. But they still open up. You hover over it, or you right click and open the link, and it should take you to your document.
Mm-hmm. You can probably just click the link, just go right to it and click it too, and it will open it.
Yeah, there it comes up. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway,
nice. I'm
still refining it because I just started doing it maybe 2 weeks ago. Because I've been thinking for a long time, how do I organize so much stuff? And I think it looks eventually like maybe more than one master list. One for this class, one for something else, one for something else. And then that way segment things out a little bit.
Yeah, it'll evolve. You'll refine it. But it's a great way to get stuff that you had very scattered into one. You can go one place and find most of your main stuff now. Vicki, I saw your hand go up.
Yeah, I had a question. Is that program already in Google Docs? Because I've got the Google things. I just have, is it like under Google Classroom? Where am I going to find it in Google Docs? Is it a different download?
You're muted, Teresa.
That's my own Google Docs account where I do all my writing.
Okay.
So she's just made a document that
I'll share it.
it's her table of contents for all her stuff.
So this is my main content, but like if I went over here to, let's find a document that I can share.
Yeah, maybe you can show us how you do it.
Yeah. So this is a lesson plan. Can you see that?
We did for a minute. Yeah, now it's there. Yeah, we see a lesson plan.
Okay, so then you go over here to share, and I just copy the link.
Okay.
And then I say I'm done. And then I go back to my personal master list.
Okay.
And then I would go up here. I'll just move it down so I can take it off and right click, paste. And when it's a Google Doc, it comes up with this nice little title.
Sure.
I just click on that title and it drops it right onto this piece of paper.
Okay. Okay, so you just created, you created your own. Thank you for showing me how to do it. I get it now. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I forget sometimes people don't do the copy and paste as often as I do, but.
No, I don't do that, but now I know I can. You showed me how. Right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I guess this is a good time for me to just mention that the recording of tonight's class and all the other group coaching calls we have it will be in our YouTube channel. You just search for Liberated Nurse Entrepreneur in YouTube and our channel will come up, and you can always see these recordings. And then another thing you can do, if you'd like, is you can come to our coaching platform. We have a free group of people who are interested in these once a month coaching calls. And in fact, after this call, I'll send a link out to everybody so that you can, if you want to, you can click that to accept the invitation to be in the free group. And then you will always be able to see the replays. You'll get a little notification in your email whenever we have a replay from the first Tuesday coaching. And you won't have to go to YouTube. It'll be right in the free group. Teresa, you have a question?
Is the YouTube channel private?
No,
Oh, so anybody can go watch it.
anybody can go watch these. Now, we have other calls, like for the Nurse Business Incubator, those are private and only the people in the incubator will see those. But for the first Tuesdays, those are public for everybody. Great. More questions, challenges. Okay, I have one for you. So I'm putting together, I'm just have this event on the drawing board right now. I'm going to do a summit for nurse entrepreneurs this year and interview nurses who have thriving businesses and also a few other leaders, nursing leaders who are supportive of nurse entrepreneurs. And so I'd love to hear if you have any people in mind that you think would be, you would like to hear me interview, or questions that you'd like to ask in an environment like that. And if you think of anybody or any questions later after this call's over, because we all know how that works after the the call, you think, oh, I know somebody. You can always email me at sharon@liberatednurse.com, and my email address is right there on the screen with my window. Teresa participated a year or two so ago. She was on our one of the people that we interviewed. Betsy, I saw your hand go up.
Yeah, I am thinking of the question about like I'm really interested in people's perspective of, how do I say, the tension between when we do entrepreneurship, when we do things that are outside of the box, like that pull to call it not nursing anymore, or not real nursing, or I used to do nursing and now I do XYZ. Like that binary. I'm interested in challenging that binary, which the Liberated Nurse program has helped me with so much, which is like, how is entrepreneurship actually like reclaiming nursing rather than exiting out? And even in just like in the language and the way we talk about it, just like really that kind of like development of the collective sort of like consciousness in nursing around like this is nursing. Yep, this is nursing.
Yeah.
That's kind of my
Thank
question.
you for that question. I know you've grappled with that a lot, right? You seem a lot more at peace with it where you're at right now than
I
a
think I
while
am
back.
more at peace with it. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like there's like a permission seeking for sure in it. For me, and I don't think I'm alone in that, of like, do I get to call this nursing? Right. And so that's the container of the incubator has been, and this whole Liberated Nurse container has been super helpful with that, but also just like so interested in how different nurse entrepreneurs frame that and like understand and conceptualize their relationship to nursing.
I love that question. Thank you so much.
So I know I've said this before, but I'll just drop it again, that it'd be really cool too to if there were nurse entrepreneurs out there that were not coaches, like because I feel like a lot of nurse entrepreneurs are nurse coaches, it seems, and I would just be curious to hear some other experiences as well.
Thank you for reminding me, Maria. I know. Yes, I'm making a real point of that, actually. I'm thinking it's going to be a 5-day event, and one day will be all about coaching because there's so many nurse coaches and that are emerging. And but there's 4 other days to have around healers and consultants and some other ways that nurses are being entrepreneurs.
When are you thinking about doing this, Sharon?
Oh yeah, I'm thinking about the week of Nurses Week, which is the first week of May.
Okay.
Anybody think that's a bad idea? Like, is there already too much going on? I kind of think it'd be fun to jump in and be part of all that.
I think it's a great idea. I think that's, yeah, I think that's a great idea, a great time.
Okay.
Perfect. So to answer Betsy's question, I was just thinking, if you have a nursing license, you're practicing nursing. You're a nurse. You didn't suddenly forget your skills because you work as a coach or in the community somewhere. You're still a nurse. If you're using your nursing skills and you have a license, and even if you don't, because we don't ever forget them. So I think we can put our mind to rest that once a nurse, always a nurse. And where we bring ourselves and our intention, we're actually nursing. And the other thing is, I know a lot of nurses who are opening brick and mortar buildings of scrub shops, IV infusion. They're working in, what are they called? The clinics where they do the colonics. They're opening those, and I know a nurse who's opened up a psychedelic practice. Ethically doing that kind of work. So they're working in all kinds of places. And if you can imagine it, you can bring your skill to it as a nurse in business.
Thank you, Teresa. Yeah, I don't have it now. I sold it last year, but for about 15 years, one of the things I did was I had a vacation rental. And I ran that. I looked at I was I started it when I was in a mood to leave nursing, not give up my license, but just not have much to do with nursing anymore. I really needed a break. I was so badly burned out. So I started this vacation home rental, and it didn't take me long to realize, oh, I was still running it as a nurse because I was really looking out for the people's, like I wanted them to have a healing time in their vacation rental. It was in a healing setting. It had beautiful nature around it. It was on a little stream in a forest and stuff. And I just wanted, families and couples and even individuals to come. And without even thinking about the nursing part, I had made my title and my advertising Rest, Relax, and Renew, at Holly Ridge Retreat. And so it was all, and so, yeah, I actually felt really good when I realized, oh, I'm still being a nurse. My training is community health. It fit right in with, okay, there's a need. I have something that can help fill the need. People need to get away. People need time in nature and all that. So I think anything we do, it's the spirit we do it in, and how much of ourselves and our education we bring to it. All that. And of course, when in doubt, we can always look up the definition of holistic nursing. And I think that can be very reassuring as well of what we're doing is nursing. But I would love to hear some of these people, other people answer the question on the summit. So Betsy, I'll bring it in for sure. Thank you. Who else has questions or challenges in your business?
Um, I have something. I also want to be mindful knowing that I already shared, so I don't know if there's anyone who's waiting to jump in. Uh,
Go ahead, but if anybody wants to share, please put it in the chat if you're not on screen, or if you are on screen, raise your hand. Well, I'll be watching for you. But meantime, Betsy, go ahead.
it's not like a specific question, but just something it's sort of like a question mark thing, just sharing like an observation that I've noticed over in the last weeks to months. It feels wise to follow up with clients by email, like with a thank you, or like, whatever nature of like follow up. That feels wise. And when I do it, it feels like a good thing. I've noticed that I never feel like doing it. It always feels kind of painfully vulnerable. Um, and I guess it felt helpful to notice that it wasn't so much procrastination on my part that was making it hard to do that, so much as that I was really like, oh, this is an emotional response that I'm having that is pretty reliable. Um, so I guess I was just wanting to like give voice to that and ask if other people have like noticed that, or any strategies for supporting themselves with that. That's my question, if that makes sense.
Just
I
want
have
to
trouble
say,
following up with clients, and I'm not sure what the resistance is. Maybe it was we're supposed to let go. I mean, I'm not sure. But the question was, do you have to have permission from them to follow up with them? That would be a question, do you get consent to treat, you get consent to follow up with them? Or is that some kind of a violation of HIPAA, or, who knows, whatever is out there, of privacy to follow up? That's been part of my struggle personally, of once they walk out the door, responsibility and legality and invasion type of thing. I'm not a stalker, type of thing, but I am curious and would like to know how they did and if I can be a further support. So it's that balancing, and I'd be interested on some other wisdom on that topic.
Yeah, this is a wonderful topic. Anyone else want to share insights or experiences around it? Well, my approach to it is to ask consent to follow up. And that can be done if you have an intake form. You can have a checkbox that they check that says, yes, they consent to having follow-up by email or whatever form you want to offer. Okay, I think that's a good way. And if not everybody uses an intake form, maybe it's just a verbal consent, just to say, would you like me to follow up with you in a few days? And you can put that as like a sandwich with, together with, feel free to contact me if you have questions that come up. Because that way you're establishing there's an open door for two-way communication there. And I think it helps the clients, and they feel cared for for the most part. Maybe 1 in 50 might say, no, I don't want any contact, but I think that's definitely rare. Most people want to be seen and heard and be thought of and cared for. So I think it's a plus, it's a value that you're adding to the client, to let them know that you'd like to follow up, and that you also welcome them to reach out to you. So that's for the client. And for myself as a practitioner, I find it extremely valuable to be able to hear later what were the effects from what the work we did. How are they applying it in their life? So many things, whatever the issue was, has it improved? What else has happened since then? Not that you're going to do a session or anything just to follow up, but you can pick 1 or 2 main questions that you want to ask, and you'll even refine your questions over time, and you'll get to that. Having feedback really helps us improve and be more targeted with our interventions, what we're doing. Not to mention it feels good and builds our confidence too. Yeah, and it kind of closes the loop. Vicki, you said something that stuck out to me when you said they walk out the door and, kind of like that's it. And I think for us, we're kind of like, oh, part of us is still kind of wanting to know. And so to get to hear back from them, it closes a loop there energetically. It's funny,
I wonder,
closes a loop while keeping it open, because if you have it set up that this is a door that they can also contact you, I don't know, maybe have the words for it, but I think both are true, that it closes a loop for me as a practitioner while still having them kind of know that they can reach out. So, Maria, what were you going to say?
oh, I was just gonna say, I wonder, Betsy, if their like hesitation to reach out could be you're concerned they didn't have a positive experience, or they didn't have the change. I don't know, like, and because I have to remind myself before I do a session, like I'm consciously like, okay, I'm letting go of attachment to the outcome and to their experience, and like, this is a whole little like mantra thing I have, especially if whatever, someone that feels like they might be skeptical, like super skeptical, and just kind of trusting. So I don't know if that could be anything in there, maybe not, because it is kind of vulnerable to like, oh, it's okay.
You're muted, Betsy. There you go.
Yeah. That can be part of it. I know that it's not all of it, but I mean that, because often it's just like not following up in the sense to like be in ongoing communication necessarily, but just usually what I have in mind is like, thank you for working with like very vague as far as like pretty administrative as far as like HIPAA's thank you. Please reach out if you have any, that kind of stuff. Pretty basic. Maybe sharing like any current ways to work with me in the future, that kind of thing. So yeah, I've
Maybe it's just another to-do task that you're like, ugh, I don't have to do. You know what I mean? I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm curious. It has something to, I don't know if it's per se that like, oh, they don't have a good like that in that specific way, so much as there's like a self-worth thing that feels like it comes up, and that feels kind of like vague, and like it seeps into everything of like, oh, am I bad? Am I doing something wrong by doing this? Do they not? Is it? uh, Yeah, it's something. It's more of like an amorphous, yeah, self not feeling worthy somehow, or not like, yeah. And I think almost like a wanting to hide, like there's like a visibility piece to it. Like, oh, I don't like, maybe I kind of want to keep working with them, but I also like, oh, I kind of want to just like be out of their consciousness and swim away, sort of. If I'm being honest, it doesn't feel good to like acknowledge it, but it's true, I think so.
Yeah. You said earlier there was an emotion that came up. There was vulnerability and it was emotional or something. Can you put any words to the emotion? Anything more than what you just said? Because you did say stuff,
Yeah.
but I wasn't sure what the emotion of that was.
Yeah, me neither. Maybe, I mean, fear, maybe.
Okay.
Fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay. Thank you for all that vulnerable sharing just now.
Thank you. Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you all.
I know for me, I've especially when I've been trying something new, and then if I ask for feedback inside, I'm kind of like, please say it was good, because I'm not sure yet because I haven't had enough feedback that it was good, and so I'm just kind of keeping my fingers crossed and kind of asking out of, yeah, a little bit of fear. Maybe it wasn't good, but if it wasn't, I want to know, too. So that's the other side of that. So, and then it almost always is, right? We're thoughtful people, we're caring people, we're giving things that we truly think will be of benefit. So the idea that we've, done something bad is probably a little bit out of reality. But that's in all of us. We have a conscience and we care, and there's a self-worth thing too. Like, did I really get it right, and that kind of thing. So yeah.
I've got kind of a different side to this. I mean, I've been blessed to work with some really wonderful clients, and I always want to know how they're doing, that kind of thing. But sometimes I wonder if they're not doing well, not because of what was going on at that time, but because when we were working together, they were doing well. But then they kind of slid off the mountain, or you were working with them on weight loss and they went into gaining 6 months later and they don't necessarily want, or with me, financial or something like that, whatever it is that they might feel guilty or something like that. And so I'm sometimes a little concerned that it will increase some shame or something in them. But I'm generally interested in them, but they may feel like, oh, I did so well when we were working together, and now I'm not doing as well, and I don't know. I don't want to be reminded that I was doing so well, kind of thing. So I was wondering about that when I was hearing what Betsy was saying. I was thinking, I wonder if some of my clients don't necessarily want me to follow up 6 months or a year later because they're not doing as well.
Yeah, that's the other side, another side of it, isn't it? Well, it still could be a benefit if you do it in just a kind way, that you just wonder how they're doing, and then whatever they say, that you give them your presence and your positive acknowledgement that, you know, if they're not doing as well, that must be really hard, for instance. I think there are ways to check in with people and have them feel the support that's there. Mhm. But it's nice that you think about that it could have sort of a shadow side there. Mhm. Yeah, because not everything's rosy and not everything's gone well. And that's part of life too, definitely.
So I worked with a coach who asked for feedback after every session. And he said, I want the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then I talked to one of his clients and she goes, I told him the bad. And she goes, he was amazing. He goes, I'm writing this down. And he changed it. And she said, I could see him change it. So I thought that was just very nice role modeling. Like, oh, I'm okay, even if it doesn't say I'm wonderful. Like, that just means I have something to shift. And then the other part of it is, you don't have to listen to everything you think. It doesn't always tell you the truth, you know? So, and you know that, I can see you know that.
Mhm.
And you can just let them go away just like water. They can just liquidate and not be part of that, which is a helpful thing for me to envision. Like it could just go away. As quick as it got there, it can go away.
Mhm. Thank you, Teresa. That's really wise. I guess one more thing I'll share and then we'll close off. I would love to hear if anybody else has something, just final words in our closing too. So my style in the coaching that I do with in my business with the business coaching, my practice is to ask at the end, what were your key takeaways and what are your next steps? Okay. And that really it's two simple questions. It helps them anchor in and increase their neural pathways about what they're taking away from the session and what they're going to do next. Makes it conscious. I have them jot it down. And for me, it gives me the feedback that closes the loop for me. And so there's no need for us to follow up with each other because it's right there. I save a few minutes at the end of the session to hear those two things. And that doesn't fit for everybody. Like in a healing energy session, it probably wouldn't fit, but I just wanted to offer that because we have lots of different kinds of entrepreneurs here. It might fit for somebody. Okay, well, let's wrap up, shall we? This has been a fun night. Anybody want to say anything, final parting words?
It's wonderful to be here. Thank you so much, Sharon. And thank you, everybody, for your wisdom and contributions.
I too would like to thank everybody. Sharon, it's always nice to visit with you. Maria, I'll get in contact with you. I'm looking forward. And everyone's contributions. I really learned from you and appreciate being in your presence.
And thank you for allowing me to be here also. It's quite, it's a wonderful group, so thank you.
Well, you come back anytime, both of you, and we'd love to hear how your partnership goes too. Yeah, first Tuesday of every month, same time. And you'll receive a reminder now because it registered for the call with Zoom, so Zoom will remind you when these are coming.
Thank you.
Mhm. All right, everybody. Thank you for being here. I enjoy it very much. Have a wonderful month and look forward to seeing you next month. Bye-bye.